Hi everyone, I welcome you all to our tech podcast series. And today we are back with yet another podcast. Now, you might be thinking, what's amazing that we are going to discuss today? There are so many things and so many amazing entrepreneurs who come and talk about technology and share their insightful knowledge. And with that note, we have a very special guest with us today. We have Anita with us, who is the Vice President and India head at COE, and she has such an amazing experience. The experience that she has is really remarkable. So, with that note, I would be very happy to welcome Anita to our today's podcast. I'm Chavi, your host of the day, and would love to know how are you doing.
Hi, Chavi. Hi, everyone. I'm Anitha George and delighted to be on this podcast with you, Chavi.
Great to hear. So, before starting with up any questions or anything, I would love to know that how was your journey? How you started with this amazing position? Obviously, there are so many hurdles and challenges that go. So, would love to know your journey.
Thank you, Chavi. Yeah, I have a very interesting start to my journey. I actually started my career with a cigarette company. Yeah, it is quite shocking, but I was with ITC, so it's a great brand. And as you know, yeah, ITC, the primary product, cigarettes. So post 2 years with ITC, I joined a large tech conglomerate, which is Oracle, and it was the second largest software company at that point in time when I joined way back in '96. And I had a long stint with Oracle, about 25 years with Oracle, and was leading ERP cloud consulting practice at Oracle. And that's when I came across Celonis and process mining. Looking at what I was doing in Oracle, I thought process mining would be the next step that I wanted to get into to stay current with technologies and that are leading today. And hence, when Celonis offered me the opportunity to set up the COE in India, I gladly accepted about 2 years back and have been with Celonis since. I've had the great opportunity to set up the center here, and it's currently established in Bangalore and growing.
That was really great to hear, and obviously, like starting your whole journey with a cigarette company, is something that I am curious. But okay, that's actually great. The starting is always something crazy, I would say. So, moving with that, would love to know, like one thing from you, from your experience, that when it comes to process mining, right? So, like what it actually is, because sometimes people gets confused with this process mining and how it works, and like how is it also helpful with the execution management?
So yes, you a lot of people have not heard about process mining, but I'm sure most of you have heard about data mining. Now, in data mining, what do? We try to find insights, from large amounts of data that is analyzed. Now, process mining is a subset of data mining where we mine processes. And what do we mean by saying that we mine processes? So we look at a process as it executes through a digital system. Now, every process leaves behind a digital footprint. So we look at three main elements of this footprint, which is the case ID, activity, and timestamp. Okay. We extract this information from the digital system and we analyze this in our process mining engine. Now, once we do this, what we get is a complete map of how the process executes to digital systems. Now, what we realize is that we design a process to behave in a particular fashion, to follow a certain number of steps. We understand that yes, there would be some deviations, some exceptions, but this is how we design and intend it to run. But once the process runs through the digital systems and the systems are set up, you realize that there are so many different paths that the process can take. And sometimes because the systems are so complex, we lose track of how the process is running. And this is why when we go down to the details of analyzing this, we have a completely different view. We get the insight, just like, you must have seen, I mean, what happens in an x-ray, right? You get to see the inside. So this is what process mining does. It gives you the x-ray of the process, how it runs, all the intertwining, all the loops, the multiple iterations that it takes. All of this can be viewed point to point in using your process mining technique.
That's actually amazing, I would say, and the way you explained it, it was very great. Now, moving with that, would love to know, like, as you explained it with the example of X-rays, can you just give me a walkthrough of like process mining with a real life example, how it works, and because would love to know that how process mining is being used to improve the execution management in an organization.
So, let's take a simple process. You look at, I mean, I'd like to look at something which is very real life, like a pizza delivery process. Okay. Now, when you look at the pizza delivery process, what typically happens is that, you make a call, to the, to say, the pizza, the company that delivers the pizza, and you place an order. Okay. Then somebody picks up the order, and the order gets processed. Your pizza is done. Then and once the pizza is done, there's an intimation to the delivery agent. They pick up the pizza, come and deliver it to you. Now, simple, straightforward process. Now, what else could happen here? When you call up, you order for a particular kind of pizza that's not available. Okay, so there is something else. So there's a change there. So you place an order for something that's not available. Now you might have to, the person who's taking the order might realize it after they've placed the order, so they might have to call you back and tell you, that this is not available, there is something else. Okay, so that is one thing that could go wrong. The second thing that could happen is that you've placed an order for a particular kind of a cheese pizza, and then what that gets lost in translation. What gets made is some other pizza. It could be a chicken pizza, and finally, when the person comes to pick it up, uh, compares it with the order. Oh, it's a different order. Okay, so like this, when you look at it, there could be a number of deviations in the process. With process mining, you can track all of this. Now, how does it happen? And and there are, say, thousands of pizzas that are being delivered. Now, how do you know what has been delivered, got right at the first shot and delivered to the right address in the optimum time? And which are the pizzas where there have been some deviations in the whole process, and it has taken longer than expected to deliver. The delivery clerk might not find the address, might have promised to deliver in half an hour, but it would have taken 40 minutes. He would have had a puncture on the way, he would have lost his way. There's so many things that can happen. Now, using process mining, you can track end to end which are the processes, how many instances the process has executed as is, how many instances the process has deviated, what are the deviations, what are the inefficiencies that have creeped in because of the deviation. Okay, it could be that one particular person taking the order might always be making a mistake because could be a hearing problem, would not have heard the customer correctly, and is taking incorrect orders. And all the orders taken by this particular person, you would see that there is an additional iteration that is required to correct the order. It may not be the right order. And this shows so clearly in the process that you're able to track and pinpoint where your problem is, which is your inefficiency, and what is it that you need to fix. Now, you take it to a business scenario, where you have, it could be a purchase order process, it could be an order processing. Okay, and if you are able to understand that, yes, when you place your order to this particular supplier, you get the best response. Okay, it always gets delivered on time. Okay, and a certain supplier, you get the best discounts when you place it through that supplier. Okay, the whole order process. And you look at something, your entire supply chain process. Okay, and something that is shipped across, moves across multiple countries. You have parts coming from different locations. You can, when you're able to end to end view how your process is running, you can figure out where the inefficiency, it could be particular to a particular country, where there are rules, or the custom clearance takes more time, and because of that, there is a bottleneck in the supply chain. And when you look at it as an overall person running the business, you know that this is what you have to fix, and you have to fix the larger issue there. Okay. Now, today in the recent COVID situation, we realized we had a supply chain problem coming in from certain countries. We were not able to get certain parts. Manufacturers were not able to get certain parts, and there was a complete delay, in the whole order process. Okay. Now, with if you had process mining deployed, and you were able to, track exactly end to end how your process is running all the time in real time, then the moment something like this happen, you are able to, think about what are the alternatives that you need to do. Okay. And it's not only this. Now when you look at, say for instance, process mining, process compliance, are you doing the right things while following the right steps while doing a particular activity? Okay. Now there are, compliance requirements for anything that you do today, like, you have to pay taxes. Now, if by evaluating your process, and the steps that you're doing, if you realize that yes, there are certain compliance activities that are not done, then you can flag it off as a non-compliance. Okay, so there is a compliance checker that we've introduced in our process mining execution engine, where which would help you do that and flag off any deviations in the process. Okay, so as a technique, it is invaluable today to ensure that processes are operating efficiently and correctly through your systems. Okay, you should realize that digitization has reached a level where we're looking to automate as much as possible. Okay, and at a certain point in time, especially with RPA bots coming into the picture, as a human being, as a person, as a head of an organization who's looking to monitor all of this, you feel lost. You suddenly lose track of, because everything is operating, running through digital systems, and other than the reports that you have, and most reports, are kind of post the event, you don't have a view of how the process is executing. And this is why a technique like process mining, a platform, an execution management platform like Celonis, is gives you that advantage where you are able to end to end view how your process is executing across digital systems. And this is important, it's across digital systems. So going a little bit into technical details, what has happened today is, your entire digital footprint has become very complex. We started off with having a system that manages MIS systems, and then evolved into ERPs, and post that, you have best of breed products. So each domain, you have a system that works well. So something for your human capital management, a system for your back office finance operations, a system for your customer relationship management. Okay, now you realize that you've created, the data is in all these different systems, and now to be able to report across this, you might create a data lake or a data warehouse, which you report on all of this. And then you realize, oh, there are some specific changes, there are some point solutions that come up, specific for invoice processing, their automated invoice processing or document processing. I have, there is a software that I can use, so this will improve efficiency there, and I plug that. So over time your footprint becomes so complex that when I look at one purchase order, it goes travel through probably 4 to 5 different systems before it's processed and paid and accounted for, right? So how does one track, if it is not paid on time, how do you track, figure out where it has gone wrong? And this is where process mining helps. Okay, because we extract the events related to that purchase order from the system and we show it to you in a process map. And and if you look at our wherein our process explorer, as we call it, it's a dashboard where you can look at each and every instance of the process. So if I'm looking at a purchase order, each and every purchase order, what are the steps that it has gone through, who has interacted with that document in its life cycle, and how many times it has got modified, who has approved it, how long has it taken. So we also look at the timestamp, how long has it taken from one step to the other. Okay, and if it is stuck, where has it got stuck. So when you're able to view this, and this is, I walked you through one process, and imagine there are thousands and millions of such purchase orders that are raised in large corporations. And if you need to have a view across all of this, okay, you need to it's and if unless you have a tool, a platform like process mining platform, you will not be able to really find out where the inefficiencies are. See, because when we look for something in a system, when humans look for an inefficiency in a process, you only look at what you know about the process. Okay, but then you don't know how the process is executing through the digital system. I mean, you have not even thought about, yes, what could happen to the process. So but when the a process mining technique is used to evaluate or this process, you look at what are the things that you don't know about, okay, which have actually happened in the system, and while the process is executing. And this is what process mining helps you do. And this, I would say, today, this is the basis that you should use for your drawing your insights and your intelligence, and of course, the basis for your machine learning.
That was so insightful, and the knowledge that we shared was so amazing. So, according to you, I would be very happy to discuss the future of process mining, because the conversation we were having is so deep right now. So, would love to know what's the future of it, and wanted to understand from you its potential impact on the execution management in the next 5 to 10 years.
So, process mining is really the basis for a good execution management system. Okay, so like I said, before, going back to the example of X-rays. Now X-rays, gave way to MRI system, MRIs. Okay, where you have a complete 3D view of your internals, and before doing a surgery, any surgeon looks for an MRI. Okay, so the uh, today how we have evolved from process mining is that, like an X-ray is evolved in an MRI, we have evolved from a 2D process mining to a 3D process mining through a new, a product called ProcessSphere, where we are able to, not only look at a process as it executes, but also how it is related to other processes. Okay, so I have a procurement process, I have an order management process. How does procurement affect my order management process and my delivery to customers? So my procurement from my suppliers, how is it affecting my delivery to my customers? Okay, these are two different processes, but they affect each other. Now, to be able to get this interrelated view, this is where we have evolved and where we are moving towards. And so this is where we say that, yes, from a 2D process mining we've moved to a 3D process mining. Okay, that is one aspect. Now, it is not about execution management, is about primarily three elements. First is your data, the data that we get from a system to analyze. Then the intelligence that we derive from the data through our process mining engine, we derive the intelligence on the data. And the third is, it's not just about finding out what is wrong, but how do you fix it. Okay, we have to fix it, and this is the action that we can take. And all these three put together is our execution management platform. Okay, so the ability to take action, that we have built into our platform through our action flows. Okay, through action flows, what can we do? We can create a workflow which, even using the open APIs that are available in ERP system, we can trigger off of a process in an ERP system that will close the entire loop. So for instance, if we realize that within our system, okay, there is a bottleneck in invoice approval. Okay, all invoices, even if there's a very small tolerance, like say for instance, there's a difference of even 10 rupees, it is not getting approved, and that is delaying the whole process, and the cost of approval is less than 10 rupees, right? So what can we do if the tolerance is, the variance is less than 10 rupees? Auto approve it. That could be a workflow that we set. Okay, now this workflow, through an the action flows, we can set this in our execution management platform. Okay, and it will check through all the invoices, and the tolerances that are causing that invoice block, and we can set it to auto approval, and once that workflow executes, then the block of that invoice is removed. Okay, so now this is a very simple example like this. There are multiple, and you could have any complex logic that you can build into an extension. So we can have a machine learning extension through our platform where you build in the logic for this. Now suppose there are, one of the very common problems that people face today is, and especially when you're processing large number of payments, is duplicate payments that happen. You pay suppliers twice. Now it's not small amounts. It's a tune of 1 million USD, and you've paid twice. And sometimes, when you're processing thousands of invoices, all of this gets lost. But with our duplicate checker logic, we are able to flag that this could be a possible duplicate payment, or a duplicate invoice that has come in. So, and flag this off to the invoice processing manager, so that they can check to see if they really need to pay it or not. And using this, companies, we've had companies save millions of dollars of, in terms of processing things, that amount that they could have lost by paying a customer, suppliers twice. Okay, so and another thing is, going back to you know taking ensuring that you pay in time, so that there is no late payment fee. Now there are cases when the documents, getting invoices getting into your system itself is delayed, and it is past the payment date. Okay, they have not been submitted in time. So what happens is, you land up always paying the late payment fees. With your execution management, with process mining, and you're able to pinpoint that, yes, these invoices are already due for payment, or they're already past the due date. Okay, and send a notification. So the with execution management is sending a notification to your invoice processing clerk that the invoices have been received late, so you please send a note to the supplier saying that you will not be able to pay them late payment fee, because the invoice itself has come in late. Now, being able to have these conversations, having with the intelligence that the system throws, that is a true execution management system. And for me, I always like to say this: just imagine that your process can think for itself. Imagine the process having a brain, that while it executes through the system, it figures out, oh, there is a bottleneck, and and this is what I need to do to sort the bottleneck, and I move forward. So giving the process a brain is really the future of execution management. So having the intelligence, the insights in your system, in your platform, that will help a process execute on its own through a number of bottlenecks, that is really the future.
That was really amazing, I would say. Now, like, I would be very happy to conclude this podcast with with one question that, according to you, what are the best practices for organizations which are looking to implement process mining in their execution management strategies?
So, see, one of the things that companies do, I believe that, any company today that has, that's processing large amounts of, data business transactions, and is looking to further optimize, and optimize their cost of operations and optimize their operation itself. And not only their operations, but also reduce their carbon footprint. Should look at implementing process mining. Now, there are always the quick wins. There are areas, tried and tested processes where we've seen maximum impact. Start with this, so that there are successes that you get, and you have some immediate gains from implementing this technology. And then you move on to what your company's priorities are. Okay, so today a lot of companies have got sustainability goals, goals to reduce their carbon footprint. And soon these would be regulated, okay, and mandated by the government, and you have to comply to it. Okay, so you go next, you pick up your areas of compliance, and these goals that you have, and work towards fixing this and operationalizing this. Then you go on to creating a map of all of your processes that you think that you would need to improve. It could be a recruitment process, it could be your customer relationship management process, it could be your customer service that you want to improve. So whichever are your key areas that you want to improve, pick that up, and then implement. Okay, but I would always suggest that you go with the low hanging fruit, see success, because if you're implementing something within the organization, you need to have success before you go, and the management trust that the technology will work, and move ahead. And for corporations, where you have digital systems that are you have a very I would say a very varied digital footprint. You have multiple applications that are interfacing with one another. You would find these companies would benefit a lot from techniques like process mining.
That was very insightful, and the conversation we had about process mining was so amazing and was so great indeed. And thanks a lot, Anita, for joining in for this amazing podcast. And I have also attached his socials in the description. You can have a look, do connect with her. She is so amazing with this knowledge. And with that note, again, thank you so much, Anita, for joining in. It was the best thing, and it was really a great experience from my side as well.
Thank you, Chavi. It was lovely to talk to you, and I hope everybody watching this podcast is enlightened about process mining, and would be interested in implementing this for their organizations. Do reach out if you do.
Exactly, so true. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for our upcoming podcast. Till then, see you. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.